Busan seeks to serve as a center for logistics, finance, media, tourism, culture, and advanced digital industries. To this end, Busan Global City Foundation aims to serve as a platform for the city's diplomacy. Busan UN Week, Busan Global City Forum, the Eurasia City Diplomacy, Development Cooperation Forum, and the Busan World Citizen Festival are all symbols of Busan's soft power, reinforcing the brand of Busan as a city of global peace. BeFM 부산영어방송 is committed to making Busan a city where citizens can comfortably communicate in English and thrive in competition with the world. Together with the Busan Global City Foundation, we are building a global hub city where citizens can be happy.
We are
the firefighter duo.
Winter is so dry. Let's prevent fire by keeping these 3 rules. If you take caution, you can prevent a fire.
The number 1 cause of fire in winter are electric blankets. Take special caution with highly flammable materials such as memory foam, toppers, and bedding.
Number 2, having too many appliances on the power outlet is dangerous. Always unplug all the appliances that you're not currently using.
Number 3, check the heater is off before leaving the house. Leaving it on for an extended period of time can cause a fire.
Let's all take part in preventing fire and have warm and safe winter this year.
Tune into BeFM 부산영어방송 for an emergency broadcast.
This campaign is brought to you by BeFM 부산영어방송.
안녕하세요. 배우 문지은입니다. 우리 사회에는 일을 할 수 있어도 사회에 나아갈 기회조차 얻지 못하는 발달장애인이 있습니다. 그 여정에 함께하는 위드 슬로우 스타터 캠페인을 시작합니다. 더 많은 첫걸음이 시작될 수 있도록 발달장애인의 출발을 응원해주세요. 공익광고 협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
It's that day, D-Day for the Suneung or CSAT. And so South Korea, we're kind of standing still this morning because it's the morning of this very important test. So many workplaces have delayed the start of the day, including places like banks. And traffic has been diverted to detour around test sites. Planes will be on standby later in the day. That's how important this is. The show of how big of a deal this exam is in South Korean society is evident, but this isn't to put pressure on the test takers, only to do what we can do to support all of them to make sure that this day goes as smoothly as possible. So yes, the country is putting some things on hold for the SAT or CSAT, but for the test takers, we want them to know that, you know what? Life will definitely go on, and we wish you the very best. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, November 14th on BeFM 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well on this Suneung Day. Yes, it's all about the CSAT this morning, the College Scholastic Aptitude Test or Ability Test. And let me ask you this. For those of you who have taken this exam, do you remember your Suneung Day? Ooh, what was it like? Did you have lots of butterflies in your tummy? Well, whether you took the Suneung or maybe today you have a test taker and your family heading to his or her test site this very morning, or maybe you're just kind of reminiscing about your own test day. 수능 day is always very much a nerve-wracking day. So let's first, we're going to look at the figures for this year's CSAT. So there are 522,670 people who have applied to take this year's college entrance exam. And so that would mean for the spring term in 2025. So of these people, some 65% are high school seniors. So that means the remaining are retakers. So we call them 재수생. The big focus is on these test retakers, as there are 161,000 of them this year who are retaking the exam. And this is the highest figure since 2004. So, that goes to tell you this year, the competition is going to be pretty fierce. Although we don't have the official figures, not yet, education experts estimate that this includes a significant number of current university or college students trying their luck with the exam again. And here in Korea, we call that 반수, when you're still enrolled for classes at a particular college or university, but you are on the side studying for the 수능 again. And this is, of course, due to the expanded medical school quota to go into effect next year. And that's just in a few months when you think about it. So the bulk of the retakers are likely top-tier students trying to get into med school. And many of them see this as the only chance, as there is a possibility that further discussions between the government and the medical community may lead to further changes in that number, in that quota in years to come. So whatever your goal is, well, the test takers, I don't know if you can hear me. Maybe you're already, on your way to the test site and you're nervous, or you're having, that breakfast, that very important breakfast before you go into your exam. We wish you the best of luck. We're rooting for all of you. And we're going to continue our 수능 coverage throughout this morning. Well, for a text topic, waivers, as I said, things are kind of at a standstill today for the CSAT. So if you had 24 hours completely free to do whatever you want, what would you do? I love these kinds of questions. 자, 수능을 맞아 오늘 하루 전국이 약간 잠시 멈추고 있잖아요. 그래서 나에게 24시간, 24시간 잠시 멈춤의 시간이 주어진다면 뭘 하실 거예요? What would you do in those 24 hours? Time stands still for 24 hours. What would you do? So send in your answers, your responses. I'm so curious as to what you're going to say today. Send them into BeFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. So go to the platform, search for BeFM or 부산영어방송. You can find us, subscribe to our channel, and then you can log in to chat with our waivers. Also, pound 9050 샵 9050 on your phone. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on our Kakao Talk as well. We have our own channel there. So same thing, BeFM, 부산영어방송, and add us as a friend. The ways you can listen to us, 90.5 and 103.3 FM, that's on the radio if you're in the vicinity of Busan. Also, like I just said, we are streaming live on YouTube, but you can watch again at your leisure. Also, we have Patbang and the BeFM app, where you can both download either one, to listen to Morning Wave in Busan. All right, what do we have for you today? We have Chris coming in for Beyond the Headlines. Later on, we have Stephanie for City Insights. And for our special interview, we are going to get updates on what is happening in the Middle East, especially, namely, in Gaza. So that's coming up in hour number 2, and I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:07. These are today's headlines. Intelligence agency confirms North Korean troop combat in Russia. The National Intelligence Service, or NIS, confirmed that North Korean troops dispatched to Russia have moved to the frontline region of Kursk and are already engaging in combat against Ukraine. South Korean stocks and currency continued to tumble after Trump's win. South Korean shares fell to their lowest level in a year yesterday, extending their losing streak to a fourth day, with the currency going over 1,410 won against the dollar for the first time in 2 years. Court rules against a live broadcast of Lee Jae-myung's sentencing. The Seoul Central District Court yesterday decided not to permit a live broadcast for the upcoming sentencing trial of opposition leader Lee Jae-myung's alleged election law violation case. Police release identity of officer accused of murder and dismemberment. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Yang Gwang-jun, is an Army lieutenant colonel and is accused of allegedly strangling the victim to death last month. Republican Party projected to control U.S. Congress. U.S. media outlets have projected the Republican Party has won the majority in the House of Representatives with a narrow majority, giving them control of all branches of the government. And these are today's headlines. Listeners, it's now time to check in with Haley. Let's say hi to her first. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I feel so nervous.
I know.
I'm not taking this
in my stomach. Are we? I mean, there's only one portion that we can pass on that entire exam.
The English portion.
Yeah.
So, if you were given a golden 24 hours to do whatever you like, what would you do?
I would be on the road right now in my car going up to Gangwon.
Oh, Gangwon. Why
Because
Gangwon?
I love that place, and it's because my family, we're very like mobile. We go. We
guys go everywhere.
We love road trips.
Yes.
So we can cover most of like Gyeongnam and Gyeongbuk areas in a day. That's a day trip.
Yes.
Yes. But like Gangwon, we went several years ago during the pandemic. I went a couple times. Loved it. I don't know. I love the food. I just love the food, the 장칼국수 and just everything. So if I had a full 24 hours, which is like 2 days, if you think about it, that's
a long time.
I know 24 hours is 1 day.
She's not saying literally, but like,
then if you think about it, it's like 7 a.m. to 6 a.m. today to 6 a.m. tomorrow. That's like 2 calendar days. So that's a Gangwon trip, and we're going to switch off driving. So we're going to probably leave around 4:30 a.m. 4:30 a.m. because we can eat breakfast on the road and people can trade off sleeping. And yeah, we're going to hit Gangwon.
Oh, nice. I like. Well, let's jump into our first update. So it's all about Suneung. Let's start with Suneung Day here in Busan City. What's going on?
Right. So before the students, test takers, you get the taste of freedom. You do need to take the exam first. And we are on full preparation mode here. So Busan City and the Office of Education, they are running comprehensive measures to prepare for the CSATs. There are in Busan 27,356 students taking the CSATs across 58 schools. So the Education Office, they have dispatched additional buses and subways to run the public transportation lines to make sure that the students can get to their test sites on time.
Yes.
That, by the way, is 8:10 at the latest in your chairs. But the city for itself, it is currently running a traffic situation room. It's been in operation since 7 a.m. to 8:30. Bus lanes, the 버스 전용차로, they're open for all traffic between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. this morning.
So I hear that the police, as usual, per se, they're on the roads as well, right?
Right. So the police are on a special traffic control mode, especially around the test sites. So the 2-kilometer radius around each and every test site is a special concentrated traffic zone, and the police will work to make sure that test takers, or at least vehicles carrying test takers, have the right of way to get to the door on time.
Yes, yes.
Over 930 officers are on the road as we speak, and the police, they have asked the general public, all of us, to use public transportation if we can, and also follow police signals and look for sirens to make sure we keep the roads clear.
Indeed. So if you don't have to head out this morning, please just wait
Right,
a little
right.
bit. Okay. Let's move on to talk about Busan City deciding to build the country's biggest pet park, and it's going to be in Kijang.
Yeah, so this is exciting.
Yes.
So Busan City said that its pet culture park project, it has been greenlit by the land ministry, and this was a major pledge by the mayor. So it'll be located on this massive property, 240,000 square meter land in Cheolma, Kijang County. The city's going to inject a 35 billion won budget for this. It's going to build a trail or several trails, garden, playground for dogs, training center, even plant center, because some people have pet plants. And you know, they are hard to raise, grow, keep alive, and a local market street for various pet purchases. There's still some administrative processes to go through, but the goal is to basically break ground by the first half of 2026.
Oh.
And according to Mayor Park Hyung-jun, this, of course, we're seeing this huge increase in households and families that own pets.
Yes.
So there is a more of a need for animal welfare. So he pledged to turn Busan into this pet-friendly city with a very established and high-level pet culture.
Well, I'm sure many people are very happy about this, that we have the green light. It's a go on this. All right. Next, earlier this week was Turn Toward Busan Day, honoring the fallen soldiers and veterans of the Korean War. The authorities have identified the remains of fallen British soldiers after all these years.
Right, so it's been, 73 years since their death, but the British Ministry of Defense, they held a commemoration ceremony earlier this week to carve the names of 4 British soldiers that had previously been unidentified until this point.
Yes.
And this is the first time that it's happened to at least the British soldiers, and they served in the Korean War 73 years ago. So the ceremony was attended by the British ambassador to South Korea, Colin Crooks, as well as the head of the Busan Office of Veterans Affairs and Patriots, Lee Nam-il, along with families and old friends of these veterans.
Yes.
So the soldiers who have recovered their names, they are Corporal William Adair, Rifleman Mark Foster, Major Patrick Arthur Angier, and Sergeant Donald Northey.
I see. So how are they able to identify the remains of these soldiers?
Of course, science and technology, but also human dedication, which is truly key. So we have to credit war researcher Nicola Nash. So she reportedly used hundreds of documents, including maps, telegrams, 전보. Reports and letters to identify the men. And then the thing is, she had no DNA evidence.
Really?
Because, their remains are
Right.
kind of long gone and buried underground. So Adair and Foster, they lost their lives in January of 1951. They were performing an operation to cover Seoul citizens who were recovering from the south or to the south from enemy forces.
Okay.
Angier and Northey, they were killed by enemy forces during the Battle of Imjingang, also in 1951.
And once again, of course, a world of gratitude to
Right.
all the soldiers, plus the families.
Who can
of course.
finally,
Yes.
they've been, if you think about it, they've been officially missing for
Sure.
70 years.
Yes. So I'm glad that has been taken care of. All right, lastly, an independent film festival is opening in Busan.
It is. So this is the Busan Independent Film Festival, Busan 독립영화제. It will open on November 21st through the 25th. So this is going to be at the Cinema Center here in Centum City, also the Musahi Theater in Hwamyeongdong. The festival is going to screen 50 films. This includes both feature-length and short films. There are 16 films in the competition category made in Busan. And
Yes.
as you can probably tell by the name, they're all connected to or made in Busan. One of this is Gavi by director Kim Min-gun, and this film was actually a part of Busan's intercity residency film production project. Another one, Magic Daddy by director Seo Han-sol,
Okay.
was a part of the Busan Independent Film Creation Support Program called Indie Busan. The opening film for this year is Night Ghost, 밤의 유령 by director Lee Chang-woo. It's about stories about female substitute drivers, 대리운전기사 in Busan. And this is an important time because the festival takes place as, unfortunately, the government has had to make some budget cuts across its film industry subsidies. And, of course, smaller films and smaller indie festivals are hit the hardest.
Yes.
So they're going to have multiple discussions about the sustainability and continuation of the local film industry. Tickets are available for sale starting online. They will open at noon on the 21st.
All right. Well, I certainly hope that we lend our support to this indie film festival. Thank you, Haley, for all the updates. All right, now, and it's time for, back to you, the waivers. We're going to talk about our text topic because it is Suneung Day, fantasy day for the rest of us. If you had 24 hours that were completely free, what would you do? That is the question. Anyhow, with that, let's get to our traffic and weather. It is now 7:18, and here's your traffic report. It looks kind of backed up right now on the Dongso overpass from Bumnikor ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. Also looking slow on Chungnyeol-daedo from Minam intersection to Daeseong intersection. And there is some traffic building on Gaya-daedo from Jure subway station to Kaegum intersection. As for the weather, it is currently 10 degrees under clear skies. It's going to be relatively warm because, you know, there is that urban legend. Suneung days are always cold. The daytime high will go up to 21 degrees today, so dress accordingly. There is a chance of rain starting in the afternoon, right when the students begin to emerge from their test site. So you might want to pack a small umbrella. And also looking at the weather nationwide, it's going to be pretty clear and warm across the country with rain forecast once again starting in the afternoon. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for News Digest. Haley's with us once again. We're going to go over the top news here domestically and across the world. Well, we're going to begin with our Suneung report because that is the main topic on everybody's minds this morning. So the country is putting a lot of things on pause today, we'll say, right?
Yes. So it is Suneung Day and pretty much nothing else here in South Korea. It's going to be very quiet today. Low decibel day, as they should. So the CSATs will begin at 8:10 when the students are supposed to be in their chairs. The final subject, which will be optional second language or second foreign language, / Chinese characters, Hanja, that ends at 5:45 p.m.
Okay.
Of course, some students will come out earlier. So during this time, there will be extensive noise control. So this includes buses and subways. They will travel at a slower speed than usual. So by the way, commuters, be aware you might want to leave a few minutes earlier.
Okay.
Any road checkups, construction, building checkups will actually be suspended if they can be for the day. Any events will be overseen by respective local governments for noise control.
Okay.
And of course, this will come to a peak. Just don't make a peep during the hours between 1:05 p.m. and 1:40 p.m. because that's the English listening portion. This is the ever famous all flights being suspended, landing and takeoff being suspended. This year includes 156 flights, 58 international, and 98 domestic.
Right.
So unless there's an emergency, of course, it's always safety first. But as long as there's no emergency, all flights will have to just kind of hang out in the 3-kilometer or above altitude. And helicopters, this includes both military and civilian, will be restricted as well.
Right.
And even military training that involves shooting or any vehicles will be put on hold.
Right. And once again, I know this might sound very foreign to our non-Korean, listeners, but this is how it goes on this day once a year. And for the general public, banks and other public institutions, they're going to be opening their doors an hour later than usual.
Right. So if you have plans to go to the bank, well, wait until 10 a.m.
Yes.
But good news, you can actually go an hour later than usual. So usually bank hours are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Today only it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yes.
This is, of course, to keep the roads clear. There may be, however, exceptions for branches, specialized branches, including at airports, industrial complexes, traditional markets, and others. So inquire with a specific branch.
Yes, indeed. And as all of this is going on, some students apparently have traveled far and wide to take their exam.
Like the Korean expressions, 산 넘고 물 건너, they've gone
Like literally?
over mountains, well, at least across bodies of waters.
Okay.
Because if you live on a fairly small island, there is no testing site. Right, so they've had to not swim, but at least take a boat, a vessel across. So students in rural areas this pertains to. And let's see, so Ulleungdo is one such island. There are only 22 test takers across the entire island. So they have had to, yesterday, travel 6.5 hours to go to the nearest Pohang. They're housed at a local hotel. The entire trip is paid for by the education authorities, in this case, Gyeongbuk Education Office, right? And also 35 students collectively from the northwestern, the border islands. We're talking about Daecheong, Deokjeok, Baekmyeong, and Yeonpyeongdo Islands. They've also gone to Incheon. They left a couple of days ago for their exams.
Okay. So I'm glad that, the local respective governments are footing the bill. Well, in just a few hours, these test takers, they're going to get a taste of kind of freedom, as they say.
Right.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, they're going to just throw their pencils in the air. So for you, we never took the sunan.
No,
for
no,
our
no.
waivers,
Yes.
we gave you the 24 hours as an adult. But when you were, what were you, 18, 19, after your sunung, what did you do? What was the first thing that you did?
네,
뭐 하셨어요?
수능하고.
What did we do after we graduated high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we are public radio. Well,
Can't say.
So, a part-time job platform, they conducted a survey amongst 931 test takers or soon-to-be test takers on what they wanted to do after 수능. 수능 끝나면 무엇을 하고 싶습니까? Interestingly, over half of them get a part-time job.
Really?
알바하기, 알바 구하기, which I'm like, oh, you guys, so responsible.
Yeah.
But interestingly, if you just looked at the 재수생s, the retakers, the figure of I want a part-time job fell to 30%. I think they're just exhausted.
Probably.
They're like, no more work, anything. I'm just going to veg out.
What's the reasoning, though? Like, why do they want a job?
It's money, but they want to make money on their own. So they want that like taste of kind of adulthood.
Yes.
Yeah. Followed by save money for tuition or for traveling. And then others, experience. I want to have that adult experience.
Sure.
This was followed by, interestingly, fairly small number, 10% who wanted to travel. Others, rest. 5% range, hang out with friends, go out with friends, and learn a new hobby.
Well, I love looking at all these factoids of what our young people are thinking.
It makes me happy for them.
Yes. Just a few more hours. You'll get there. I keep on looking at the clock because it's like 7:25 and you have to be in your seat by 8:10. I just hope you have all woken up on time.
You're eating breakfast right now. Right.
You should be on your way soon.
You're maybe listening to Morning Wave for like an English listening practice.
연습하면 좋아요. 영어 듣기
I'll speak
연습.
extra. I'll enunciate extra today.
Let's slow down. All right, we're going to go to North Korea for our next story, where there's been an indirect admission of human rights violations.
Right. So there's what's called a Universal Periodic Review, a UPR working group of North Korea's human rights practices. That was in Geneva, Switzerland. In Korean, this is called 보편적 정례 검토 심사. So what it is a mechanism that calls for each UN, United Nations state to kind of basically go through a peer review of its human rights record every 4.5 years. So every single UN nation goes under it. Of course, North Korea, unfortunately, one of the biggest violators. So a total of 91 countries, including us, South Korea, China, and Russia, they've submitted questions to North Korea ahead of the review.
Okay.
So at the center of the attention this year were called these three evil laws, 악법. So this includes a law on rejecting reactionary thought and culture, the Youth Education Guarantee Law, and the law on protecting the Pyongyang cultural language. I'm going to tell you this in Korean because it's very convoluted. 반동사상 문화 배격법, 평양 문화어 보호법, 그리고 청년 교양 보장법. Basically, all suppresses freedom to various extents, especially free speech. So the committee, the group, also urged North Korea to protect women and girls from sexual violence and human trafficking. So this was an extensive session. The group made 294 recommendations, and the North gave feedback on 88 of those, and basically saying that we don't accept.
Oh, they don't.
They don't.
So what specifically did the North refuse to accept?
Right. So this included taking down detention centers for political prisoners, dismantling the system of discrimination, stopping torture, and sending back abductees, which are 납북자, 억류자. Interestingly, going back to that point, they did admit indirectly to the practice of open executions, or 공개 처형 in Korean. So the head of the country's central court, North Korea, said, on principle, the North conducts executions privately. However, that there are exceptions. These would be cases of repeat murders or grave offenses.
Okay.
Also, or when the victims' families request there to be open executions. So basically saying that, yes, we have them. He also stated that in North Korea, there is no term for political prisoner or prison camps in their criminal law system. However, they do have criminals who have committed crimes against the country, 반국가 범죄, and reform institutions for them, which in everywhere else in the world, we do call them political prisoner camps.
Yes.
So basically, it's a roundabout way of admitting that they do have a system, they just don't call it that.
Right. It's a roundabout way, but very interesting and unfortunate to hear about these types of being confirmed. All right. For our last topic, village buses have been having trouble getting drivers. We're talking about 마을버스, and this is posing risks to riders.
Right, the passengers.
Yes.
So there's this persistent personnel shortage when it comes to village buses, and that's everywhere in the country. It's gotten so bad that the bus companies have had to lower their criteria for employment. Basically, no experience required is the point.
Really, though?
Yeah, I know.
Do we want that?
Do you see the size of those buses? So basically, previously, they've had, qualifications like you need to have at least 1 year of bus driving experience or kind of an age limit. However, because of the personnel shortage, if you apply, you get the job, and then they'll train you on the job. So we have a lot of village bus drivers in their 20s and 30s.
Yes.
Age is not a problem on its own. However, combine that with a relative lack of experience, plus tough driving conditions. Because village buses, by their nature, they do cover the smaller routes not covered by the larger buses.
Sure.
In Busan, these are hills.
Yes.
They are slopes, small streets, and you basically have to maneuver.
Lots of curves.
Yeah, lots and lots of curves. So it requires a little bit of expertise and experience.
Yes.
But if you are a 20-something it's only been a handful of years since you've had your license to begin with, this can be dangerous. And we do have data to substantiate this. More accidents. Since the year 2018, the rate of accidents for village buses, so how many village buses have gotten into accidents out of the total number, 17%. Let's compare that to city buses. 시내버스, 9.5%. So that's nearly double.
Right.
And then even when these village bus drivers are trained, they don't remain at their job.
Oh, they don't
see this
stay?
as a stepping stone for city buses.
I see.
The larger buses. That's because there's actually a systematic reason for this. City buses are semi-public. They have better job security.
Yes.
They're covered by public funding. Village buses are completely private, so the wages are lower, job security may be on the line. So this does lead to differences in wages and welfare. But for us, the riding conditions.
Yes. So I don't know. It seems like a vicious cycle almost.
Right.
Like a training ground. Maul bus.
Exactly.
And then the drivers move on to the city buses.
But then these are, ridden. I mean, I ride them almost, almost daily. I see like older people, children on them as well.
Yes.
So it's like we want safety for all modes of transportation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for covering all the news, and we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right, it is time for our first song of the day. And yes, I know that many of you have noticed that I'm back on the board. And just to let you know, all the songs have been chosen by our lovely producer. And so the songs are related to the topic of today, the main theme, all about youth and, giving all our youth who are taking the 수능 today a lot of encouragement. So this is 달리기 by 옥상 달빛. So enjoy. We'll be back in just a moment.
지겨운가요? 힘든가요? 숨이 턱까지 찼나요? 할 수 없죠. 어차피 시작해버린 것을 쏟아지는 햇살 속에 입이 바싹 말라와도 할 수 없죠. 멈춰설 순 없으니 단 한 가지 약속은 틀림없이 끝이 있다는 것. 끝난 뒤엔 지겨울 만큼 오랫동안 쉴 수 있다는 것. 바싹 말라와도 할 수 없죠. 창피하게 멈춰설 순 없으니 이유도 없이 가끔은 눈물 나게 억울하겠죠. 1등 아닌 보통들에겐 박수조차 Welcome back, everybody. So today, once again, is CSAT Day or 수능 Day. If you've been under a rock, that's what we're talking about. We now are going to talk about the difficulty level of the exam, whether it's going to be what they call extremely hard, 불수능, or an easy one, 물수능. That's what they call it here. I mean, every year there's like, after the students take the exam or the takers take the exam, there's kind of this like, we break it down. and we see how difficult it's been. So we usually look to the previous mock exams. So they're called 모의고사 to gauge the difficulty level. That's what we usually do. So most experts say that the actual exam will be harder than the mock exams from June and September. The caveat is, however, that the difficulty level between June and September this time around was extreme. So the June mock exam was deemed extremely hard, way past the fire level to, they call it magma, 용암 수능. It was really difficult. By comparison, they may have lowered the difficulty too much for the September one. I hear that, from, a certain member of my family that the September one was way easier than the June one. With the exam being too easy is actually not good, as 수능 score levels or 등급 are graded on a curve with only the top 10% getting that level 1. So after the exam, this, strategy, we call it, this game of strategy to figure out, what the answers to the questions were, and then whether, you did well, and where the students place on that scale, on that curve. But that's later. That's after they actually take the exam. That's later on for this afternoon. For now, let's just focus on getting through the exam. So today, as I said, we're kind of at a standstill because of the 수능. If you had 24 hours completely free, what would you do? 이거 생각만 해도 조금 부담스럽기도 하네요. 저한테는 24시간, 24시간이 저한테 주어진다면 뭘 할까요? 잠시 멈춤의 이런 날. If you had 24 hours, 우리 웨이버들 주어진 이 시간에 뭐 하실 거예요? So let's take a look at some of your responses. And once again, excuse me while I turn my head to look at some of your responses. So aside from the lots of greetings this morning, so yes, thanks for tuning in and saying hello to each other and to me, and of course Haley as well. So Taejin says this, 24시간이 멈춘다. 저만 움직이고 모든 세상이 멈춘다면. Oh, so he took it to a different level. He's saying if everything stood still for everyone, like the whole world stood still, but only he was moving. 할 게 너무 많은데 마음속으로 말할게요. Oh, he's not going to share? 비밀이에요? 왜 얘기 안 해줘요? 아니라 24시간 멈추면 심심하겠어요. Oh, he said he'll be kind of like bored with nothing to do if the entire world, except for him, if everything kind of just stood still. Tommy says this. Topic. 24 hours free. 24 hours sleep. He chooses sleep. I would imagine so, because I think you have a really long work day sometimes. As you mentioned yesterday, what was it? 76 hours you worked straight, Tommy? At least I hope that was a one-time thing, because that's dangerous. That's bad for your health. And I hope you're being well overly compensated for all that work, but nothing can bring your health back. So anyhow, I'll read more of your messages in a little bit, but let's get to Kat's pick for now. For today's story, this just got under my skin. It bothered me. 이 스토리를 보고 저 정말 기분이 별로 안 좋았어요. This is regarding a husband and a father who vanished. He vanished, and so his family thought, oh my gosh, something must have happened to him. He must have had an accident. Well, the authorities think he may have faked his own death. So let's listen to the clip from the Today Show.
Immediate hours and days after Borgwart's reported disappearance, search teams found a capsized kayak and life jacket in the deepest part of the lake, his van and trailer parked by the boat launch, and eventually his fishing rod and a tackle box that also contained his keys and a wallet. But after weeks of scouring Green Lake, no indication of the father of 2 high schoolers and a 7th grader. A search team from Bruce's legacy using sonar to comb the lake.
By the time we got into day 10, roughly, I mean, it was evident to me that, something wasn't right.
When police reviewed the 45-year-old's laptop, they say they found a trove of information, including inquiries about moving funds to foreign banks, communication with a woman from Uzbekistan, even a $375,000 life insurance policy purchased in January. The sheriff says his passport was checked by Canadian authorities the day after his reported disappearance. And in early October, Borgwart's wife and relatives learned the search was turning into an investigation. On Friday, the sheriff, speaking directly to Borgwart.
I plead that you contact us or contact your family. We understand that things can happen, but there's a family that wants their daddy back.
Now, answers are few and far between, but he says authorities are on the trail. He's at a 2-month head start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's ahead of us, but we'll catch him.
All right, so I guess the question is how? How are they going to track him down?
Yeah, they have no idea where he is right now. Investigators are saying that they have figured out that there may be accomplices. They're looking into whether or not that's actually the case. The FBI also involved in the investigation. Their number one priority right now is bringing this father home.
I say this with a grain of salt, but if that were my husband, I mean, he's a father of 3. How can you just vanish without a word and, allegedly fake your own death? It just, boggles the mind. 어떻게 아버지가 그냥 없어지고 그냥 연락 없이 2절. 없어진 거, is it good? Bad? I don't know at this point. This was Cat's Pick for today. All right, we're gonna actually get into our next segment. Something happened with the logo, the BG for our next segment. But Chris is already in the studio with us, so no worries. We roll with the punches. So I'm gonna change the camera to allow you to see him right now. And there he is. I'm going to have to adjust the camera just a little bit. So we're going to zoom out a little. So we make Chris look nice. Okay, there you go. Hi, Chris. Welcome from Beyond the Headlines. I don't know what happened.
Good morning, Dia.
What normally happens is everything is set and then I move everything over. For whatever reason, your BG, not you, but the BG for your segment disappeared.
I can understand that. It's hard hosting and being producer, and
right.
It's just a tough job, and you're doing well. So.
Oh, thank you. All right, let's get into it. What do you have for us for Beyond the Headlines?
Well, today I came across this headline that really made me just love science even more than I usually do. I really do love science.
Yes.
I tried to bring a variety of stories to share that with you about a range of topics, and there's really a lot of cool things that are happening in the field of science. They're doing so much to help craft the world that makes it better for future generations. And, scientists have done really so much. And this week I came across another scientific breakthrough involving graphene and brain cancer. Graphene. Now, scientists have developed a device that can help find and pinpoint cancer cells in the brain.
I mean, really? Pinpoint cancer cells in the brain?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so it sounds like really, really great news. Does this mean there's a cure, or what does this mean exactly?
Well, they have been looking for a cure. This is another step in the direction towards a cure for a cancer. When we've been looking for a cure for cancer for such a long time, and the reason why we haven't found one is that cancer is not one disease, but it's an umbrella term for a huge number of similar but different diseases.
That's true.
Currently, we do have cures that are effective for about 5 types of cancer, which is really good news. If they're caught early, things like prostate or thyroid cancers are among them. Now, cancer is a mutation of our cells that causes them to divide out of control. A mutation in the DNA happens all the time, but most cells, they self-destruct when they realize they aren't functioning properly.
Right.
When our cells don't self-destruct, our immune system gets rid of them most of the time. what we call cancer is these mutations have learned to evade our immune system and are growing out of control.
They are just too smart.
Yeah, they're too smart for our bodies. Now, brain cancer, especially glioblastoma, which is the most common type of malignant brain tumor in adults, are difficult to cure because of their location and how difficult it is to tell healthy tissue from damaged tissue. We can remove the brain tumor or mass in the brain, but often leftover cells stick around and grow back, causing the tumor to return. And unfortunately, according to the Brain Tumor Charity, people diagnosed with glioblastoma typically only survive 12 to 18 months, even with surgery.
Oh, my goodness.
But this chip could change that.
Really? Okay, so this is, you've laid the groundwork, and now we're curious as to how this chip will actually work.
Well, this chip is really interesting. It can pinpoint cancer cells through their electrical emissions. Now, healthy neural tissue send and process electrical signals differently than cancer cells. The lead researcher, Kostas Kostiriolo, can pronounce this name properly. Sorry about this, gentlemen. Kostirilos, professor of nanomedicine at Manchester University.
Okay.
He's the chief scientific investigator for this study, said that cancer cells do not respond to electrical stimulation set off by the chip, in contrast to the host's neural cells.
Oh, okay.
Now, the device, which is about the size of a postage stamp, uses graphene. Now, graphene actually won the discoverer of it a Nobel Prize a couple years ago.
That's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not a science person, but why does it sound familiar? And then...
It's a remarkable material.
Okay.
It's made of pure carbon and is only 1 atom thick. And still, for being that thin, is 200 times stronger than steel.
Which is like, it boggles the mind.
The mind.
Yes. And then postage stamp. So, if we had to say, it would be probably like...
Maybe 3 centimeters by 4 centimeters.
Right.
So very small.
Yes.
And what makes this material perfect for this chip is that it has interesting conductive properties that allowed for the development of new electrical and magnetic sensors.
Sure.
This chip is being hailed as a medical first because it allows the surgeon to tell the difference between the cancer cells and the healthy cells, allowing them to be removed more effectively and more accurately. Kostalios said that this allows a surgical team to identify neurons very close to the tumor, and that is extremely important. If the tumor is located in parts of the brain, such as those involving speech, the team will need to be particularly careful. And guided by signals from the graphene chip, they can remove the disease cells with more accuracy and confidence.
Right, because you said earlier, Chris, that especially with glioblastoma, the most common kind of cancer in adults in the brain, that it's hard to distinguish between like healthy cells versus cancerous cells in the first place. And the fact that this will let the surgeons, to very closely monitor and to identify exactly what the cancer cells might be.
Yeah, where the healthy brain is and where the
unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's definitely good. So, we do hear about these types of advances here and there once and again, but when will this actually make its way to humans? Will we see it soon?
Well, this is actually happening right now.
Oh, now.
They're in clinical trials. The first in-human trials are underway. They've started, and they haven't quite gotten going, but they will enroll between 8 and 12 patients. They're looking to start that very soon.
Yes.
Castillo said that this is the very first ever clinical trial to be performed anywhere in the world with a graphene-based medical device. Now, this chip is intended to be used for more than just cancer identification. Could be used for other things. An international team has been working on this chip to transform it into monitoring electrical brain impulses of brain cells that previously couldn't be detected.
Well, what else are scientists hoping to do with this chip? Because it sounds amazing and it's already in clinical trials. So that means if things go well, that, more patients out there will probably benefit from this.
Yeah, it's this part of a class of device called brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs. Now, the team hopes that BCI devices can help scientists study many other conditions, including stroke and epilepsy,
yes,
by helping scientists to develop a deeper understanding of how electrical signals are transmitted by comparing healthy cells and unhealthy ones.
I see.
Caroline Aglier, co-founder of the In-Brain Neural Electronics, said that the clinical milestone paves the way for advancements in both neural decoding and its application as a therapeutic intervention. What's possible is unknown, but scientists hope to be able to use the chip to detect very high and low frequency signals from the brain. And strokes and epileptic fits are known to emit these low frequency signals, and this technology opens a new way to explore what happens immediately after a person suffers from one of these events, with the hope of finding new ways to treat them.
Well, by the way, I'm curious also as to the chip. Is it like implanted directly like into the brain, or how does it go? Like, because, it's the size of a postage stamp, but still, I mean, it's not very tiny where it's like, you can't even, minuscule.
Yeah, it's not microscopic.
Right.
You can still see it. It doesn't go directly into the brain, but it does go inside of your head if you were to get it. It does need to go on top of the brain. So
on top, like, okay, so it's not like embedded.
Not embedded in the brain.
Okay.
So what'll happen is a surgeon will take out a small piece of skull and put the tiny chip on top of the brain.
I see.
And from there, transmitters send the electrical signals to stimulate the brain cells, and then the receivers pick up their response. Really, it's just a first step, but it is something that will get us closer to understanding how the brain works and how cells of the brain can communicate with each other. So hopefully it will help to increase survival of people with brain cancer and also help to improve the lives of people with these other medical conditions.
Indeed. This is actually really fascinating. I'm once again glad that, you brought something that it's in clinical trials. It's not something that's so far-fetched that we might, never see it actually out there. But we're going to call it a wrap for today. Thank you so much for bringing this beyond the headline story for our listeners. So have a wonderful day. We'll check in with you next week, Chris.
Hope you have a great one, and thank you very much.
All right, everybody. This was Chris. And now it's time to get to our final song already for our number one. So how about this one? This is 오르트 구름 by Yunha. And I'll be back in hour number two.
어둠만이 나의 전부였던 동안 숨이 벅차도록 달려왔잖아. We'll never say time's up. 경계의 끝자락 내 끝은 아니니까. 울타리 밖에 일렁이는 무언가 그 아무도 모르는 별일지 몰라. I wanna be there. I'm gonna be there. 벅찬 마음으로 이 궤도를 벗어나. Let's go. 새로운 길에 탐험가 Beyond the road. 껍질을 깨뜨려버리자. 두려움은 이제 꺼도 오로지 나를 믿어. 지금이 바로 time to fly. To the 앞에 끝서도 넘어가. 한계밖에 trip 짜릿하잖아. 녹였을 심장에 쉼없이 피는 꿈은 뭐하래도 믿어 난. 누구도 본 적 없는 낯선 우주 속에 겁없이 뛰어들어 fall. 답답한 가슴 안에 불꽃을 피워낼래. Shine and bright. 거쳐 빛듯이 반짝이던 무언가 꼭 달릴수록 멀어져도 난 좋아. I'll never give up. I'm getting better. 여정은 이미 시작된 지 오래야. Let's go. 끝이라 생각한 순간 Beyond the road. 너는 세상이 날 감싸나. 때로는 느릴 때도 가끔은
부산영어방송.
새로운 다우니. 건조기를 사용하면 섬유유연제 향기가 사라진다고요?
여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BeFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
We are
The firefighter duo.
Winter is so dry. Let's prevent fire by keeping these 3 rules. If you take caution, you can prevent a fire.
The number one cause of fire in winter are electric blankets. Take special caution with highly flammable materials such as memory foam, toppers, and bedding.
Number 2, having too many appliances on the power outlet is dangerous. Always unplug all the appliances that you're not currently using.
Number 3, check the heater is off before leaving the house. Leaving it on for an extended period of time can cause a fire.
Let's all take part in preventing fire and have warm and safe winter this year.
Tune in to BeFM 부산영어방송 for an emergency broadcast.
This campaign is brought to you by BeFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
It is now time for news highlights. It's now 8 o'clock. Intelligence agency confirms North Korean troop combat in Russia. The National Intelligence Service, or NIS, confirmed that North Korean troops dispatched to Russia have moved to the frontline region of Kursk and are already engaging in combat against Ukraine. This follows a statement from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Brussels, confirming North Korean troops are quite literally in combat.
The NIS said work is underway to gather and analyze additional intelligence without providing further details. South Korea has pledged to take necessary measures that will be rolled out in stages according to progress in the military cooperation between North Korea and Russia. South Korean stock and currency continue to tumble after Trump's win. South Korean shares fell to their lowest level in a year yesterday, extending their losing streak to a fourth day, with the currency going over 1,410 won against the dollar for the first time in 2 years. In the meantime, the country announced that it will extend its market stabilization measures totaling 37.6 trillion won until next year to prepare for any market volatility as investment concerns grow over policy under the incoming U.S. Trump administration. The Korean financial market, meanwhile, will open at 10 a.m. today, 1 hour later than usual, due to the National College entrance exam. Court rules against live broadcast of Lee Jae-myung's sentencing. The Seoul Central District Court yesterday decided not to permit a live broadcast for the upcoming sentencing trial of opposition leader Lee Jae-myung's alleged election law violation case. In consideration of the gravity of the case, ruling People Power Party or PPP chair Han Dong-hoon and other lawmakers had asked the court to allow a live broadcast of the sentencing trial. He was indicted in 2022 on charges of lying during the presidential campaign about a high-profile land development project pursued by the Seongnam city government during his term as mayor. Police release identity of officer accused of murder and dismemberment. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Yang Gwang-jun, is an Army lieutenant colonel and is accused of allegedly strangling the victim, whom he was dating at the time, to death during a fight in his car on October 25th. Yang is also accused of allegedly dismembering and abandoning the victim's body in a river in Hwacheon, Gangwon Province the next day. Yang is the first military official whose identity has been disclosed in a military case, or in a criminal case. He had filed for an injunction against the police decision, but the court rejected the request, saying it does not pose irreparable harm to the suspect. Republican Party projected to control U.S. Congress. U.S. media outlets have projected that the Republican Party has won the majority in the House of Representatives with a narrow majority, giving them control of all branches of the government. President-elect Donald Trump has also been making nominations for his cabinet, including Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, Senator Mark Rubio to be Secretary of State, and Pete Hegseth, a Fox News host and Army veteran, as Defense Secretary. Trump also met with sitting President Joe Biden at the White House to discuss the transition, and the pair both hope for a smooth process. And this was News Highlights. It's now time for Wagga Wagga. I'll get her on the camera. Hold on.
We had to adjust the angle
because Chris was on right before
Chris
her.
Is far taller than me.
Yes. So we're of similar height. Yeah, so we're good.
We're good.
We're good. So we're going to jump into our first story, which is not a laughing matter. It's a DUI story involving singer Kim Ho-jung, and the court handed down a verdict on this highly controversial case. So what happened?
Right. So trot/opera singer Kim Ho-jung, he has been found guilty of reckless driving resulting in injury and a hit and run, and the court sentenced him to 2 years and 6 months in prison. Let's go to a bit of background. Although you might notice that a DUI charge, a drunk driving 음주운전 charge, is missing. Conviction is missing from this ruling.
Right.
We call this the drunk driving case.
Right.
Because this all happened back in May, late at night on May 9th. He drank, and he's admitted to it, so I'm going to remove the allegedly. He drank, he drove his car, he drove slightly on the wrong side of the road. He went over the yellow line, 중앙선 침범, hit a taxi on the other side. He fled the scene. And the day after, he had his manager turn himself in.
We
remember we covered this extensively. So Kim had initially denied that he had consumed any alcohol at all, period. But then so much CCTV footage emerged, and about 10 days later, finally admitted that yes, he did drive drunk. However, the police did pass the case on to the prosecution, including the drunk driving charges, but the prosecution didn't indict him or couldn't indict him on DUI or drunk driving because there just wasn't enough evidence.
Physical evidence.
Physically,
at
they
that
didn't
point.
have the blood alcohol concentration level.
So he was found guilty of pretty much everything else except for the drunk driving charge.
Basically, yes. Although the judge did reference Kim's drunk driving in the verdict.
Okay.
And called him fleeing from the scene irresponsible, as well as the act of sending his manager to turn himself in.
Yes.
And the judge said that one in the CCTV footage can clearly see him stumbling because of the alcohol, and called his actions problematic in that they caused confusion in the police's initial investigation and therefore wasted police resources.
Yes. And, because he's such a popular singer, there's actually a street in his hometown dedicated to him, correct?
Right. So this does happen with a lot of popular celebrities. If their hometowns are especially kind of a smaller town, they will use it as a tourist attraction. So Kimcheon City, back in 2021, created this tourism special street, the Kim Ho-jung Street. He went to school here. He went to, I believe, middle and high school here. It's painted in purple, which is apparently his fan club's color. It has installations, murals, and photo zones of his likeness. Well, the entire street, by the way, cost 200 million won, 2억 won of taxpayer money. But ever since the case back in May, the city has received numerous civic complaints about, he's charged, he's going to be convicted, so should you guys paint over this? Well, now that he has been officially convicted, the city is going through an internal discussion. They haven't made a decision yet.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we know now with the sentencing. So it's no longer alleged. He is guilty of doing multiple...
Not drunk driving, but everything else.
A multitude of other things, though. All right, we're going to move on to a story. This is a local one. A group of students at Bukyong National University, they have been arrested while protesting against the president. So we're not talking about the president of the school. We're talking
about President Yoon Suk-yeol. And there have been many protests and calls from various universities and institutions and even professors calling for the president to resign or be removed from office.
Okay.
So Bukyong University's students, their movement for President Yoon Suk-yeol's resignation, they held an activity on campus at Bukyong. That's according to the police.
Yes.
They were taking signatures for his resignation, and there was a small demonstration. But the school campus, Bukyong, does not allow for religious or political activities on its campus. But the students even protested this, saying that, it is a violation of their basic rights, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly.
Yes.
So they held a rally. It was about 10 students in front of the school's president's office. They're basically very peaceful, holding signs.
Okay.
Asking for a meeting with the acting president. However, the school called the police for protective requests, and the police arrested 10 people, 8 for refusing the eviction order, and 2 for obstruction of justice, trying to prevent their peers from getting arrested.
I see.
So that's what happened. However, they haven't released now. The attorneys for Democratic Society, Minbyun, say they're representing the students, that the students actually said that they're going to go home. But the school apparently blocked the doors and called the police. By the way, the number of police that arrived, 200.
200 for 10 students?
For 10 students who were not violently protest. They were, we're not taking sides, but the photo showed them holding signs.
I'm just saying the number, the response
the number is
seems like overkill.
It does seem like
The numbers.
a bit of an overaction. The students also say that the police did not read them their Miranda rights. Like if there were 200 officers and none of them read the rights. So this is, of course, a case that's going to be ongoing. We do see some court cases or at least some charges and other countersuits in the future.
Okay. Well, let's move on. This. We've all lied. 거짓말 한 적 있잖아요.
All the time.
Well, I don't know about all the time.
Oh, sorry. All the time. Yeah. I'll be honest. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But there are some lies that definitely cross the line,
All
right?
So have you tried to, get out of a job? Like whether it's like a task at work or like, quit a job, but then you couldn't be like, I hate this job.
I hate you,
You're
boss.
all horrible.
You're terrible.
You're not helpful for me at all.
Right.
You can't say that. I mean, you can, but don't burn
You don't want
bridges.
to burn bridges, yeah.
So what did you say? I know someone who said that they were moving abroad. And they stayed right in Korea.
Like, really?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you going to do when you run into them? And she's like, Seoul's a big city. Okay.
I've said things like, oh, I'm going back to school. Like back, when I was younger.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to go to grad school. Oh, there's been a personal change in my life. Try to keep it as like, oh, it's about me. It's not you.
Right. Because I'm a firm believer in tempting fate. Like 부정 타는 소리 하지 않기. But this is a JTBC report about a story of a mechanic, 차량 정비공 in Pyeongtaek. This employee was hired back in August and apparently had some problems to begin with. For example, he was moving a car, he backed that vehicle into another customer's car.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then apparently almost broke the engine in another car that he was trying to fix. The owner still, supported him, training him and teaching him. However, at the end of October, he said he's quitting. The reason?
Okay, the reason. This is important.
His wife died.
Oh, and we're talking about lies. He lied?
We're talking about lies. We are talking about lies. So his wife said, and then everybody apparently cried because, you just tell someone that your young, healthy spouse died. But he said that his wife had apparently hidden her illness from the family, and the funeral will be a very private affair. So when they said, can we come to, pay, our respects and condolences, he said, oh, it's going to be private. And lies breed more lies, especially if it is your wife died.
Oh my gosh.
So the timing was also, the owner noticed that the timing was a bit off because it was right after payday. Although, that can be a coincidence. But
right,
it was
of
a
course.
1 in 30 chance or 31 chance, depending on the month. So the owner asked, is there proof of death? Because I have paperwork reasons.
Sure.
So this employee, at this point, ex-employee, kept evading the request. And the lies just got more elaborate and elaborate.
Like, what did he say? Let's hear them.
First of all, he said he hasn't filed the paperwork. He hadn't reported the death. 사망 신고를 안 했어요. And then next, he was too heartbroken. And then he felt like giving somebody the certificate of death, even if a copy, felt like he was betraying, like taking a part of his wife, excuse me. And then when I guess he ran out of things to say, finally admitted he lied.
다 거짓말.
다 거짓말. Everything. His wife is alive and fine. Well, I don't know if she's fine. I'm sure she is angry.
If my roommate had offed me, killed me, theoretically,
God.
I would be so
Don't
upset.
Don't even say that.
That is
Don't
so
even
wrong.
Say that. Yeah. No.
Oh.
So he claims that he wanted to quit for a long time, but he was afraid that he would get yelled at.
And if he did, it would be a one-time affair because you're quitting.
Right. And then he said he just, said he thought if I make this a family affair, then it would be a beautiful goodbye that everybody would be happy. I'm like, really? So you killed your
아름다운
wife?
이별?
Really? 아름다운 이별. He literally said 아름다운 이별일 줄 알았다. Yeah.
This story just, yeah.
He doesn't have a job, but he might, I don't know. Will he
Does he have a wife after this? I don't know.
With your cat's pick story and this, I don't know.
It's coincidence.
It's
we
coincidence.
don't confer with each other on the stories. All right, for now, we're going to have to go to our final story. We're going to go to Azerbaijan, where the country's president said something during the COP29 summit that really goes basically against the whole principle, the idea of the climate summit itself, right?
Right. So COP29 is the United Nations Climate Conference.
Yes.
And the president of the host nation said, fill in the blank, oil and gas are what? They are fossil fuels.
Yes.
But this is not what he said. He
What did he
said,
say?
quote, gift of God. 신의 선물.
신의 선물, but wait. So they're hosting COP29, climate change.
Conference, the climate conference. So this is Azerbaijan's president, Ilham Aliyev. So from the get-go, let's go a little bit to the beginning. Some people had expressed concerns about this climate conference being held in Azerbaijan because their plan is to expand, not decrease, but increase their oil and gas production, by about a third over the next 10 years.
Oh.
And its Minister for Ecology and Natural Resources, 환경부 장관, is a former oil executive. Yeah. He also chairs the conference.
Why are they hosting?
I don't know.
Why were they? Why was the
decision
chosen?
made?
Yes,
Right.
You're
Because there were, I'm assuming, other candidates. And of course, there are concerns that Azerbaijani officials are using COP29 to basically boost investment for the country's natural gas and oil company. But the president says this is all a lie.
It's a lie?
Whom? Slander from Western fake news media and say that the country's share in global gas emissions was only 0.1%. And he stated that oil, gas, wind, sun, gold, silver, copper, they're all natural resources and countries should not be blamed for having them. Also should not be blamed for bringing the resources to the market. So anyways, but let's go to the science.
Okay,
because
the
now
science.
we've had a lot of non-science. Oil and gas, they are proven to be a major cause of climate change because the greenhouse gases they release, including carbon dioxide, because you do have to burn them for energy.
Yes.
And upon the comments, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that, doubling down on the use of fossil fuels is absurd and that we're going through a clean energy revolution that no government can stop.
All right.
Yeah.
Since we can't comment or we won't say anything at all, we're going to call it a wrap for today.
Can we read Tommy's comment?
Well, he says, Tommy says this. When I was in elementary school, my teacher said, bring your mom to school. And I said, Tommy, my mom died a long time ago. Later that day, my mom hit my head really, really hard. This is the second time in 2 days in a row that you've told stories.
Oh, man. Your poor mother.
Oh, another comment caught my eye. Catherine, 해리포터 옷 같네.
Is it because it's like a poncho?
It's a poncho.
It's a robe?
Can I?
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'm Harry Potter. It's okay. Leslie likes it. And that's all matters. So.
It's a good color.
Yes.
We're team blue today.
We're going to check in with Haley, of course, tomorrow. Thank you for all the news.
Have a great day.
The Woggle stories, of course.
Yes.
Everybody, this was Haley, and we're ready for your weather and traffic update. It's time for your traffic update right now. It looks backed up on Mandokdero from the Sukdung intersection to Deokjeon intersection. Also, looking slow on Yeonsuro from Suyong intersection to Mangmi intersection. And there's congestion building on Gayadero from Jure subway station to Daegum intersection. Currently, it's 14 degrees Celsius under clear skies. It's going to be a relatively warm Sunung day with a daytime high of 21 degrees Celsius. There's a chance of rain starting in the afternoon, right when the students start kind of emerging from their test sites. So hopefully you packed an umbrella for, the student in your life. Looking across the nation, it's pretty similar. Pretty warm, nice until the afternoon where you might get some rain depending on where you are. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Try Everything by Shakira.
I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. Lost to myself, but I'll just start again.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So today we've been talking about this whole idea of 24 hours all to yourself. What would you do? And a lot of you actually, even on our Kakao Talk and a message board, are saying like, you kind of don't know what you're going to do because it's kind of unimaginable. And, some of you are thinking, well, am I the only one who's moving and doing something while everything else is at a standstill, or is everybody, free to move about and do their own thing? So I didn't freeze time. I'm not Harry Potter. I don't have a wand. Just basically, what would you do with those just free 24 hours? So some of you say you would do some traveling. A lot of people said you're just going to sleep. So that's a popular answer as well. So I was thinking about what I would do. I would probably sleep too, or just take an extra long nap and, just do really leisurely activities. Go to maybe a nice bakery with loved ones and have some, goodies and coffee and really enjoy the day. And by the way, a shout out to Yunjung Waver, who is celebrating her 25th wedding anniversary. So congratulations on your silver anniversary. And I hope you guys, have many more years, and maybe we'll hear about your golden anniversary. How about that? All right, for now, we're going to get to our special interview. I'll be back in just a moment. In recent week, the Israel-Hamas conflict has really reignited with devastating intensity, particularly in northern Gaza, where forces are conducting a renewed offensive, with hundreds of thousands of civilians who are displaced and infrastructure in ruins. The humanitarian toll is mounting, and questions about the future stability of the region, everything up in the air. Qatar, which was once a critical mediator in this whole conflict, has taken a step back from this role, complicating potential peace efforts. So let's find out more about the unfolding developments. Joining us once again is Professor Michael Birch, who is an associate professor of political science at Eckerd College. So hi, welcome back, Professor.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Yes. So first, if you could explain the significance of Qatar's recent decision to suspend its role as a mediator in this whole conflict. So does this mean that Qatar is basically taking a step back? What does this mean exactly?
It does. What it means is that it really signals that there's an impasse between the two sides at this juncture. Qatar really prides themselves on being the go-between in a variety of tough negotiations. They were there for the U.S. and the Taliban in regards to Afghanistan. They've helped facilitate talks between the United States and Iran before. And so they really saw themselves at the forefront of trying to negotiate a permanent ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. They had success in the past last year when we had the ceasefire and the exchange of hostages. And for them to take this step back now signals that they've really become frustrated with a lack of progress on either side. Qatari officials noted no willingness on the part of Hamas to maybe do a conciliatory gesture by even releasing one or two hostages, while feeling that Israel also is unwilling to make significant concessions.
Yes, indeed. So how might this affect the ongoing efforts to reach some sort of truce, or even just to at least de-escalate what's been happening as of late?
It will have a sizable impact because it's really unclear who will act as go-betweens. Egypt has also acted as a go-between, but really has no desire to take the front role on trying to negotiate something. And we're probably entering a period of extended pause in negotiations, because until the President-elect Trump takes office again, there's really no incentive on the part of the Israelis to negotiate and wanting to see what the next administration would allow them to accomplish.
I see. Well, thank you for your insight on that front. And if we can talk about what's been happening in northern Gaza, for the past several weeks, there has been kind of this renewed offensive by Israel in that region, devastating impact on the local communities, it seems. So what do you see as Israel's objectives with this kind of, recent campaign there?
Well, their goals, as always, is the destruction of Hamas, right? And the question becomes what the United States, its principal ally in the region, has asked is, what does the day after look like? And for Israel, they have not really articulated a plan for what the day after, who will run Gaza when it's not Hamas. So we're starting to see this development where Israel defeats or severely damages Hamas in one region of Gaza and moves on to another region, but then there becomes a vacuum of power. It's not really clear who's in charge, and then we see Hamas fighters and Hamas politicians like reform in that area. And so we've kind of reached this period where Israel just keeps moving between the north, the center, and the south. With no real long-term strategy articulated on how to secure an area after they feel like they have finished fighting.
Yes. And can we also talk about the humanitarian, concerns right now? Because the UN has reported that over 100,000 people have been displaced in northern Gaza and, civilian casualties mounting as well. How does the presence of Hamas fighters actually within these residential areas complicate the matter when Israel is on the offensive? That's part one of the question. And the second part of this question is also, if we can take a look at the humanitarian concerns involved.
Yeah, and so one of the major concerns about modern conflict is that in many regards, many of the casualties don't come from fighting, but come from non-battlefield conditions, like, with the collapse of infrastructure, the collapse of public health. And so, we are now talking in parts of Gaza where people have been going a year without electricity, a year without access to medical care. And so as long as there is fighting going on, it becomes hard for any type of long-term humanitarian care or stability to return to an area, which is just going to worsen underlying conditions for the citizens of Gaza and the civilian population.
And so if we go back to Israel and its tactics, Professor, reports say that Israel is employing what's been called cutting the grass strategy. So where basically Hamas cells are regularly attacked to kind of prevent their regrowth, hence cutting the grass, mowing the lawn constantly. So can you tell us more about this strategy and how it impacts kind of the cyclical nature of this violence between Israel and Hamas? I mean, it is unceasing at this point.
Yeah, and so the cutting the grass, mowing the grass has commonly been referred to as what Israel's policy had been towards Hamas, ever since Hamas took over Gaza in 2007, where we had a series of kind of small-scale conflicts, obviously devastating for the populations that experience them, but short of the all-out war we've been seeing over the past year. And the idea was that for a long time, Israel wanted to contain Hamas, but did not want to expend all the resources that they thought were necessary to fully destroy it. So that's where they referred to it as a mowing the lawn kind of strategy. You don't let Hamas get too powerful. In this situation, there, at least all public statements by the governing coalition signals that they do want to go beyond this strategy and, fully punish Hamas in their views for what had happened in October 7th to get the hostages back. But we might just be seeing more of the limits of their strategy, their inability to fully destroy this organization, to fully identify all of the fighters or even knowing where all of their hideouts are going to be. It becomes really hard in a kind of guerrilla conflict to separate out always who are civilians or combatants. And I think we see these challenges for Israel as they continue to move through the different regions and cycle through again and again.
Yes. And, there's also considerable speculation about how a potential U.S. administration under Donald Trump might influence this conflict and actually just the whole broader Middle East issue at large. In your opinion, Professor, what effects could the incoming Trump administration have on policies in this region, and namely, of course, this conflict?
Well, so far, we should always acknowledge that President-elect Trump is an individual who likes to keep all sides guessing, and at the same time does love being able to have a deal reached. And so there's some thoughts that he might push for an overarching deal to resolve the conflict. What we say in the immediate term is that when looking at his announcements so far for individuals tasked with foreign policy, such as Senator Marco Rubio of Florida to be picked to be his Secretary of State, his chief diplomat, former Governor Mike Huckabee of Arkansas, who has been signaled to be the U.S. ambassador to Israel, is that these are individuals that have very strong hawkish positions against Iran and very pro-Israel positions. And so if we are to at least look at the individuals so far that are making up the foreign policy team, it is a collection of individuals that would perhaps tilt more towards continuing to support or even allowing Israel to escalate in their goals of achieving stability in the region versus perhaps encouraging and putting pressure on Israel to reach a peace settlement.
I see. And as we get ready to wrap up our conversation today, Professor, in your opinion, is this situation, and we've had you on several times to talk about this very conflict, is there any real movement towards temporary truce, ceasefire, or do you see things escalating? What do you see in the near future?
So I think we will see a push by the Biden administration in their remaining, days to try to achieve ceasefires. That is a desire of the Biden administration. There has been more and more daylight between the United States and Israel, more and more points of disagreement that it's hard to imagine Israel agreeing to a settlement unless they've achieved their objectives. And in fact, in our conversation today, right, we have just been focused on renewed violence in Gaza, but the fighting continues in Lebanon also.
Yes.
And so it is, it's really hard to, not to end on a pessimistic note for those hoping for peace, but it's very hard to imagine in 2024 to see the cessation of hostilities at this particular juncture or the Trump administration takes office in January.
I see. Well, we don't want to be negative. However, that's where things stand. So thank you for telling us as it is. And of course, it was our pleasure to have you on air with us once again. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Pleasure as always.
This was Professor Michael Burst, and we talked about the latest and the update in this Israel versus Hamas war. And I don't know, are things going to change? We're going to have to wait and see. And as Donald Trump does take the oath of office in January, we'll see how the U.S. also influences this conflict in the days to come. And with that, we are ready for another song. So here it is, Live While We're Young by One Direction.
Hey girl, I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. Come on and let me sneak you out and have a celebration
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
Time for City Insights, which means Stephanie's here. Good
morning.
Hey, so right around now,
Right.
they've started.
Fighting.
떨려요.
Crossing your fingers.
Yes. I know of one person personally who's taking the exam today, not one of my family members. So I won't say his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but he's already in there.
화이팅.
I sent him a message at like 6 a.m. 화이팅! 잘해! 열심히 해!
Yes.
And I sent him some vitamins like a couple weeks ago.
Aw,
and he
so
was really, really
sweet.
thankful.
Yeah.
Because apparently, like, because he was like studying so much, like, it's not just getting that, I don't know, that little knob on your finger. Not just that.
No.
He would sit for like literally like 10 hours a day just like sitting there and studying.
Oh my
so like
gosh.
his skin like all over his hands, it was just like 다 일어나고 난리 났대요. So
like rashes.
like rash and like it's just the stress of it.
Oh no.
And so he's a retaker. So I feel for all the students and the retakers.
Yeah.
But when you're a retaker, I feel for you because like, you know,
pressure is bigger, right?
yes,
Of course,
whether
yeah.
it's your second, third,
Yeah.
fourth, fifth, sixth, I don't know. Yeah, it could be multiple times. But hey, you know, for a text topic though, because everything's kind of at a standstill this morning, at least, you know, with the people going to work a little later than usual. If you had 24 hours, just, you know, you could do whatever you want.
I have nothing to do. Right?
Oh, yeah.
There's
What would you
nothing.
do?
Oh,
Just 24 hours.
I'll definitely sleep in.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I'll do yoga.
Oh, yoga.
I started yoga this week.
This
and
week?
I've been just kind of saying, oh, I'm too busy to go back. I went once.
How was it?
It was terrible.
You know what? Everybody who tells me they've tried yoga or Pilates like for the very first time, everybody kind of has the same response. Nobody says, "Oh, it was wonderful."
You know, you think it's going to be like meditation, so
like
relaxing,
but it's not,
and
right?
Stretching. No, I was sweating and I was shaking and I was falling over, and I paid for a whole month, so I have to go back.
You
But
should.
if I had 24 hours to do nothing, I'll go to yoga.
Really?
But I don't have 24 hours, so I probably won't go back. So I don't want to go back. But yes, I would love to go to yoga, maybe enjoy some brunch. And
what would be on your menu?
Ooh, I've been craving, it's random, but I've been craving French onion soup.
Oh my gosh.
I don't really know where to get that in Korea.
When you find a place, let's go together.
Okay.
We need to go.
So
All
no
right.
one knows.
We're going to jump into our first insight. What do you have for us?
So our first insight takes us into the world of a beloved food item.
Ooh.
Seasoned Pollock roe, or in Korean, 명란젓. Do you like 명란젓?
I do. I love the kind of the saltiness of the Pollock roe. Do you?
I love it.
Okay,
I love it. Yes, I love it, but it's like a taste that I didn't like until I was like...
Me too, though. It's kind of an acquired taste.
Yes,
Yes.
Well, some people love it, some people don't. We respect your preference, right?
But I love it like with a steaming hot, like the hin.
Yeah.
Pap. Just recently made pap.
Yeah.
Like
with 참기름.
Oh, and just like finely diced chopped green onions. Like right on top. Oh.
I'm hungry.
Yes. All right. Now that we're hungry, tell us more.
So here's a fun fact.
Okay.
Busan's Pollock roe is now being recognized as some of the best in the world, even outbidding Japan for the highest quality roe.
Really?
So Busan's Pollock roe is not only gaining recognition for its taste and quality, but also its history. Did you know that Busan is actually tied to the origins of Pollock roe production? Many people think Japan is the home of this iconic dish, but the roots actually trace back all the way to Korean peninsula, especially the Korean regions of Hamgyong province, where Pollock roe has been produced for centuries.
Ooh, well, this is fascinating to like learn about. So tell us more about the history first.
Right. So back in the Joseon Dynasty, Pollock roe caught in the Wonsan area would travel down to
to the coast, reaching all the way to Busan, and then being distributed to other parts of Korea. And during the Japanese colonial period, Busan became the center for handling and shipping Pollock roe to Japan.
Sure.
And this is when it truly became popular in Japanese cuisine. And today, Busan continues to be the heart of the country's Pollock roe industry. In fact, one of the biggest achievements recently is that a local Busan-based company has won the bid for the world's highest grade Pollock roe for 3 consecutive years, beating out Japan, the largest consumer of Pollock roe. And this accomplishment shows just how much Busan's Pollock roe has earned global respect for its quality.
I mean, that's amazing, and I'm so happy to hear about this. I had no idea the recognition of Busan's Pollock roe as a premium product. So that reflects, not just like the superior quality, but that also the city's kind of like deep connection to this unique food culture. It's really fun to know about.
Definitely. So a few days ago, I sat down with the CEO of that company that has won the bid, Deokhwa Food, and his name is Mr. Chang Jong-soo. And I asked him what it means to have won this bid. So let's take a listen.
그 명란에 있어서는 미국산이 러시아산보다 프리미엄으로 이제 인식이 돼서 비싸게 팔리는데 그 미국산이 껍질이 얇고 입자감이 좋기 때문입니다. 그래서 이제 고가 미국산 항상 일본이 가져가는 구조였습니다. 네. 근데 이제 이런 구조의 최초로 균열을 낸 게 저희 회사라고 보면 되고요. 2022년, 2023년, 2024년 이렇게 3년속으로 세계 최고가를 저희가 사오게 되었습니다. 네. 저는 이제 한국 시장이 많이 성장한 상징적인 그런 사건이라고 생각합니다. 네. 최고가 명란을 알아주는 고객이 생겨난 거니까요. 이건 경제력도 뒷받침이 되어야 되고 미식적 감각도 뒷받침되어야 되니까 한국의 전반적 수준 자체가 성장하고 발전했다라는 증거라고 저는 생각합니다.
So he said Japan's Pollock roe market is overwhelmingly larger than Korea's, so nearly all expensive raw materials go to Japan. When it comes to Pollock roe, U.S. products are considered more premium and are sold at higher prices than Russian products due to their thin skin and fine texture. Now, his company was the first to break this pattern. They began purchasing the highest grade U.S. Pollock roe, which was nearly unprecedented. And from 2022 onward, they secured the top grade roe 3 years in a row. And Japan has been quite surprised by this shift as they have the dominant market, yet Korea keeps taking the highest quality product. And he sees this as a symbolic event representing the growth of the Korean market. It means they now have customers who recognize and appreciate premium Pollock roe, which requires economic strength and a developed culinary sense. And this is evidence of Korea's overall advancement and growth as well.
Right. So it does sound like there is this growing interest, and it's not just about the quantity, but also change in like perception of how Pollock roe is viewed kind of in this whole modern era of cooking, right?
Right. And I remember back in 2017, Kim Sarang, the celebrity, she sparked a trend when she introduced an avocado Pollock roe dish, blending traditional Korean flavors with fresh ingredients. And since then, the market has continued to expand with younger consumers embracing it as part of a broader and more diverse cuisine.
Yes.
We talked about it a bit, but Catherine and also the listeners, how do you enjoy Pollock roe?
So I mentioned just, with the steaming white rice. Also, I like to make a jjigae with it.
Ooh, yeah.
And you don't have to season it all because it's already salty.
Right.
Add some tofu.
And you just put it on top.
Yeah, it's so good.
Mix it all together.
The jjigae is so good. Just put it into boiling water. You don't have to season it. It's good to go.
Some people, they put it in kimbap. And even salad these days.
Salad.
I have not tried that.
That I haven't tried. I don't know if I can. Oh, okay.
It's a bit fishy for this, but yeah, if you like it.
Okay.
Like to try.
Well, very interesting to hear about the changing market and perception of Pollock roe for Busan. But let's move on to our second insight. What do you have for us?
So for our second insight, we're diving into Busan's cultural scene, local literature. The city is hosting a humanities forum called Busan Literature Traversing Modern Imagination, a unique event that explores what makes Busan's literature so compelling.
Yes. So literature fans, of course, across Korea, really thrilled, especially after Hangang's recent Nobel Prize win in literature. It's really inspiring, I think, to see how the literary world is buzzing, and this forum is perfectly timed, I think,
Right.
to celebrate and examine Busan's place in Korea's literary landscape, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, this forum is organized by Dongmyeong University's Center for Creativity and Personality. The center is a place where professors from diverse fields collaborate and study together, integrating education, psychology, engineering in an interdisciplinary way.
Okay.
They also develop liberal arts courses to enhance the creativity and character of university students. And as I mentioned, they established what's called Korean Association for Creativity and Personality, where they hold academic conferences on creativity and personality.
Yes.
And regularly publish an academic journal. And they also plan events like the literary journal Humanities Forum, Busan Literature Traversing Modern Imagination. And this is to create a space for academic exchange and communication. So I was looking at all of their forums, and the title of the first lecture at the forum held on October 31st was titled K Creativity and the Humanities. So last week, I met with the director of the center, Ms. Yoon Jung-jin, and asked where she thinks this K creativity comes from. Let's take a listen.
제가 여기서 얘기하는 K 창의성이라는 거는 한국이라는 그러한 지역적인 수식어를 좀 넘어서 보자. 한국에 사는 한국인의 민족이 가지는 그런 민족적인 특성이라든지 문화, 그리고 시대 정신을 표현하는 우리 민족만의 그런 독창적인 창의성을 이야기를 좀 하고 싶었는데요. 문학이 그것을 가장 잘 담아내고 내포하고 있다고 생각을 했습니다. 우리 의식 안에 우리의 민족성 안에 직관이라든지 몰입이라든지 뭔가 느슨하게 마음 챙김과 같은 그러한 정서가 분명히 있거든요. 이런 DNA 속에 우리 그 민족성 안에 이러한 정서를 한번 풀어보자.
So she saw K creativity as something that goes beyond the regional label of Korean, representing the unique creativity that embodies the natural traits, culture, and spirit of the Korean people. She believes that literature best captures and conveys this unique creativity and felt that this aspect could be meaningfully explored within the humanities and literature. She proposed examining a uniquely Korean creativity that includes intuition, immersion, and a relaxed mindfulness. After reflecting on how to initiate this exploration, she decided to connect K creativity with literature.
So it does sound like the forum is a chance to maybe explore how all these factors have influenced the storytelling and creative expression rooted in Korea, right?
That's right. And I think it's a great reminder that literature isn't just words on a page, right? It reflects the identity of a place and its people. And events like this forum provide an incredible opportunity for readers and writers alike to come together, dive into these stories that reflect Busan's modern identity.
Indeed. Wow, we went from Pollock Road to literature. So amazing. That's the beauty of this segment. But thank you so much for bringing these two insights to our listeners. We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye-bye.
All right, it's time to close our program out for today. So once again, students are well on their way racing through the exam. Of course, we wish them nothing but the best of luck, whether it's their first time, second time, or who knows, the nth time of taking this exam. We wish you the very best. Final song for today. Here it is. This is 선인장 by Epitone Project featuring 심규선. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
잘 드는 그 어느 곳이든 잘 놓아두고서 한 달에 한 번만 잊지 말아줘. 물은 모자란 듯하게만 주고 차가운 모습에 무심해 보이고 가시가 돋아서 어둡게 보여도 걱정하지 마. 이내 예쁜 꽃을 피울 테니까 언젠가 마음이 다치는 날이 있다거나 이유 없는 눈물이 흐를 때면 기억해 그대에게 작은 위로가 되어줄게 내 머리 위로 눈물을 떨고 속상했던 마음들까지도 웃는 모습이 비출 때까지 소리 없이 머금고 있을게